Hey everyone. It's a wild thought, but have you ever stopped to wonder if the choices people made centuries ago could still be controlling our world today? Well, we're going to look at two really powerful legal rules that are basically designed to stop that from happening, to make sure the future stays free from the grip of the past. Let's get into it.
Really think about that for a second. Can they? Imagine a world where every single piece of property, every single resource, was totally locked down by a set of instructions written by someone who's been gone for hundreds of years. It's a pretty spooky idea, and it's the exact problem we're tackling.
And yeah, the law actually has a name for this. It's called dead hand control. It's this whole concept of the past having an iron grip on the present and on the future. But what's so cool is that the law has come up with these amazing parallel tools to fight back against it.
So our first guardrail, it works in the world of private property. We're talking about things like family wills, big estates, and trusts. And it's a very famous and famously confusing legal rule called the Rule Against Perpetuities.
Okay, well, don't let your eyes glaze over. I know that sounds like a complete and total brain twister. It's literally famous among law students for being a nightmare to figure out. But I promise you, the actual idea behind all that confusing language is surprisingly simple.
Right, so here's the bottom line. The Rule Against Perpetuities, which people just call the RAP, is all about stopping some long-dead owner from controlling their property from beyond the grave for way, way too long. It basically makes sure that, sooner or later, property becomes free and clear for the living to decide what to do with it.
And thank goodness things have gotten a lot simpler. A lot of states have adopted a new version that just completely gets rid of that messy life and being plus 21 years thing. Instead, they just use a clean, simple 90-year period. So much easier, right?
So to wrap this part up, the RAP keeps private property moving and makes sure it stays sellable and transferable. It just completely voids any weird condition that could lock up an asset for centuries. It breaks the dead hand's chokehold. Now, what's really fascinating is how this exact same idea shows up on the public side.
Because, get this, there's a parallel rule that acts as a guardrail for all of our shared public resources. This one's called the Public Trust Doctrine, and it's all about protecting the things that belong to every single one of us.
The big idea here is that the government is basically a trustee for you and me. It holds these vital resources, like rivers and coastlines, in trust for the public. And the absolute key to that trust is that the government is not allowed to just permanently sell them off to some private company. They belong to us.
And this isn't just some nice policy idea. It's considered a fundamental obligation of the government. Its whole job here is to protect our shared rights, like being able to navigate on public waters. And here it is, it prevents the government from putting a perpetual chokehold on these public treasures. See the parallel?
And this isn't just some dusty old theory either. It has real teeth. There was this huge case back in 1892 where the state of Illinois tried to give away a massive chunk of Chicago's waterfront to a railroad. The Supreme Court stepped in and said, nope, you can't do that. They used the Public Trust Doctrine to cancel the deal, saying the state never had the power to give away that public resource forever.
Okay, so let's put this all together. We've got these two different rules. One is for private law, the other is for public law. They look totally different on the surface. They work in separate areas, but they are both laser-focused on the exact same problem.
And this really lays it all out, doesn't it? On one side, you've got the Rule Against Perpetuities, working in private law to stop a forever lock on a family farm or estate. On the other side, you've got the Public Trust Doctrine, working in public law to stop the permanent sale of our lakes and rivers. But look at the goal. For both, it's about keeping these things, whether they're private property or public resources, dynamic and responsive to the needs of the living, not the dead.
And that right there is the heart of it. That's the whole story. It doesn't matter if it's a private will or a public land grant. Our legal system has built these incredible guardrails to stop the dead hand of the past from tying up the hands of the living.
So, why do we care? These are old, kind of complicated legal rules. Why does any of this matter to you and me today? Well, because the idea behind them is absolutely fundamental to how we build a free society.
Look, these aren't just puzzles for lawyers to play with. They are basically a promise. They're a declaration that every single generation gets the freedom to face its own unique challenges, to make its own choices, and to decide for itself how to use the resources, both private and public, that it has in front of it. It's what keeps the world from getting stuck.
So it really makes you think, right? These two rules are like this invisible architecture all around us, holding up the idea of a free future. So I'll just leave you with this question to chew on. What other invisible rules are out there, quietly working in the background to protect your future?